Oh, yeah.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Kanika RN. In this week's video, I'm going to pass on an unusual skill I have. There are a few universally hated things that I twistedly enjoy. Things like standardized tests, pizza crusts, visits to the dentist, and job interviews. Bro, she crazy. Trust me, I'm not denying it, but these weird anomalies in my personality can actually work in your favor. You know how they say don't trust a skinny chef? Well, consider me your fat chef of job interviewing. I'm going to hashtag humble brag here for a second. So, I haven't gotten every job that I've ever applied for, but I have gotten every job that I've interviewed for, and a component of that may just be luck and timing. But I do think there are a few things that I can pass on to you that's greatly going to increase your chances of just crushing any kind of interview, whether it's job, whether it's getting into any kind of school, or any other kind of interview that you may have to do. So here's the scoop, everyone. 90% of how well you do in an interview is largely determined before you come even face to face with your interviewer. How calm, how confident, and how prepared you are is going to determine what's going to happen in that interview. So, in order to achieve those three things, this is what you need to do. So, number one, you want to do a little bit of research about the company that you've applied to. So, find out what their mission statement is, any new developments that have recently happened in the company, any short term goals that they have. For example, I'm going to always speak in nursing terms because that's my world, that's my forte. Let's say you're applying for a hospital that is seeking magnet status. So, as a part of your interview, you may incorporate the idea of I would love to work for a facility that is seeking to educate, empower, and make nursing a priority as a part of the healthcare system. So, this way, you've tied in what the company is trying to achieve into your personal goals. Second thing you want to do is do some practice questions. It doesn't really matter what kind of job you're interviewing for, or what kind of school you're interviewing for. Some things are universal. The dreaded tell me about yourself, tell me a time you overcame adversity, tell me about a time you made a mistake or you did something negative. What did you learn from that experience? So, doing a few practice questions with a friend, a family member, anything like that, just to kind of get an idea of how you want to answer questions. Don't memorize them by any means, because as soon as you miss a word or miss a phrase, it'll be like a short circuit in your brain. You'll be like, cannot complete answer. So make sure you don't do that. Just have a few bullet points in your brain of these are the things I want to hit. Also, have your friends and family just give you a couple of random questions. This way, you get comfortable with improvising on the spot. Number three, know exactly where to go and get there early. When I say know where to go, I don't mean just put it in Google Maps and figure out the distance or just know the address of the place. What I mean is visit the place you need to go to, know the specific parking lot you need to park in, and go ahead, go inside, figure out what floor you need to go to, what room you need to go to. Trust me, there is nothing more stressful than showing up at a facility that has like 19 parking lots and trying to figure out day of, oh my god, where do I park my car? So know exactly where you need to go. The name of the game is eliminating all these tiny little stressors so that when you go in for your interview, you're calm, you chill, you're ready. When I say get there early, I think the ideal time frame for me is to get there 20 minutes early and check in 10 minutes before. Getting there 20 minutes early will allow you a couple of minutes to kind of go over things in your mind in the car, just relax. And checking in 10 minutes early, I think, is the ideal time frame. If you are someone who's a little bit anxious and you feel that it'll make you more comfortable to get there even earlier, then that's fine. But I would shoot to get to wherever you need to be at least 20 minutes in advance. This one is a very important one that you may not get from another list, and that is to try on your clothes the night before. We all have this sweater or blazer or skirt or dress that puts us in boss mode. So, whatever that outfit is, try it on the night before. Make sure it's not gotten too tight or too loose or have a hole in it. This happened to me during an interview. I had a favorite cardigan and I realized right before I was about to leave that there was a little hole right here, and I had a 27-second like meltdown, like this is a sign, it's not gonna go well. And then of course I brought myself back down to earth and I was like, chill kid, it's a cardigan. Ladies, this should go without saying, but keep that cleavage under control. Guys, this should also go without saying, but keep that cleavage under control. So get that out of the way the night before so it's one less thing to worry about in the morning. Next thing is you want to make sure that you have several copies of your resume with you in case it's a panel type setting. This way you just have them ready, you can pass them out. Make sure your resume is clean, it's streamlined, no funky fonts, no funky colors. It should all fit onto one page. It should be very easy to read. There's one other thing that I like to do personally. If it's not a good fit for you, then you can disregard this tip. I put a little about me page beside my resume when I hand it to people. Especially I did this for my first couple of interviews. So it's mostly things just like I can speak Hindi and I'm conversational in Spanish, or I'm an avid hiker, or some people will put like I have a golden retriever and he's the love of my life. You don't want to go anything too extensive or too personal, but sometimes just having a few things that set you apart from the crowd, especially if you're going into an interview scenario where there might be 5, 10, 15 potential candidates, and maybe all of you are qualified and they're just trying to, find these little things that set you apart from someone else. Having this thing can sometimes humanize you. I was on a panel one time where I was interviewing. I haven't been an interviewer often, but there was one time that I was on an interview panel and there was a girl who wrote a little about me section that said that she learned to speak Mandarin from her grandma during her summer visits to China. And that little detail did remind us of that girl, and ultimately she was one of the ones that we hired. Next tip is keep the previous day as relaxed as possible. I know you guys are busy. Some of you have kids. Some of you may be working the day before an interview. But if you can, try to minimize your task list the day before. Treat yourself to a little manicure if you can. Do a little at-home facial. Go get some nice takeout. Go out to eat. Several hours before you go to bed that night, before your interview the next day, keep it relaxed. Don't try to prep anything. Don't try to learn a few extra facts at that point. The night before, keep it relaxed, keep it chill, and that will also translate to you being your best self the next day. The next tip is going to seem like a trivial one, but honestly, guys, success is in the tiny details. Carry a little bottle of water with you. That way, when your mouth gets dry, which usually happens when we get tense, you have the bottle of water right there. And also, if you're in the middle of answering the question and you just need a little pause to regroup, you take your little sip of water, you regroup, and then you continue answering the question. It's just the little things that make a difference. Most of the time in any interview scenario, your interviewer is going to ask you if you have any follow-up questions, and the answer is always yes. That is something that will separate a good candidate from a great candidate. A great candidate will always have a follow-up question, whether that be related to what is the training process like, how do you support new grads, what education opportunities there are going to be. Remember, guys, it's very, very important to maintain a mentality of you're there to have a conversation. You are not on trial. There is no spotlight on you. You are not there to impress anyone. You're only there to have a conversation, to mutually figure out whether the company, whether the school is a good fit for you, and they're trying to figure out whether you are a good fit for them. That's all it is. If you eliminate that piece of stress in your mind of I have to impress people or they're going to be judging me for XYZ, then the chances are you're going to increase your stress and not perform as well. So all it is a conversation, trying to figure out if this is a good exchange and if it's going to be a good working relationship. And the final tip is one that I think is more and more overlooked nowadays, and that is to follow up after the interview. After your interview is done, you definitely want to follow up and say thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Don't ask for specifics at the time of when can I hear back from you. Just keep it generic, keep it general, and just say I really appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to hearing from you. And in case it's not a successful interview, you don't get the job, you don't get into the school or whatever else, definitely follow up and say, is there anything I could have done differently? Is there any advice you can give me for future interviews? This will do two things. Jobs are cyclical. There may be another opening in that company 1 year down the road, and they will remember that you were a person who were motivated to find out what they can do differently in the future. And the second thing is they might give you advice for how you might be successful in the next interview. So I would highly recommend doing that. So hopefully these tips are going to help you just crush and dominate any interview that you're in. If you enjoy this video, if you find it helpful, then definitely please give me a like. Please comment below if you have any other questions or I can assist you in any other way. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming out with a new video every Thursday, and I would love to continue to see my subscriber count grow and just continue to interact with you guys. And as always, keep it sweet and salty, my friends, and I will see you guys next Thursday.